Hello and a warm welcome to Federal Special Program Capital Beat. Karni Sena leader Mahipal Makarana today warned that the recent vandalism at Samajwadi Party MP Ramji Lal Suman's house in Agra was just a trailer, as outrage over Suman's remarks on Rajput warrior Rana Sanga continues to grow. Now, what he said exactly, I'm going to quote that today a small protest was staged outside Samajwadi Party MP Ramji Lal Suman's house by Karni Sena members. During the protest, some chairs were broken, but nothing big happened. This is just a trailer, and we should have given them a strong answer way earlier. We are very tolerant, but if people like him say offensive things about our great leaders like Rana Sanga, I want to warn all of that. If any of our members are hurt and mistreated, we will stage a much larger and bigger protest across the country. This is what the Karni Sena leader said. Now, what did Ramji Lal Suman said? Ramji Lal Suman said that Rana Sanga is a traitor because he played a role in bringing Babur to defeat Ibrahim Lodi. And these were the remarks which triggered widespread backlash from Rajput groups and political figures, escalating into protests across multiple states. Now, this protest comes amidst the Aurangzeb row, which we saw playing out in Nagpur, and there were clashes. And now we have this another incident which is playing out in the name of Rana Sanga and Babur. So, what's really happening as far as these historical figures are concerned? Why now a Rana Sanga controversy? Who benefits from this controversy? Will it be further used for polarization for Bihar elections and for which the preparations have already begun? We'll try and find out answers to all of this. Joining me now is Vivek Deshpande, veteran journalist and political commentator. Thank you so much for joining. We have Siddharth Sharma, independent media analyst, joins us. Thank you so much, Siddharth, for joining. And I'll begin with Vivek Deshpande, that this latest controversy on Rana Sanga, how do you really see this playing out? And first of all, let's go back to the comments which were made by Ramji Lal Suman. What he basically said was an answer to this Aurangzeb and this kind of a narrative which is generated by the right-wing troll army and the BJP leaders and the RSS leaders. So this is how Ramji Lal Suman chose to answer that Rana Sanga was the one who brought Babur to defeat Ibrahim Lodi. And these were the remarks which triggered a backlash. How do you see this controversy now?
Yeah, Nilu, I think this fact of history has been stated by so many historians of class. I mean, historians whose credibility is beyond doubt several times. But they have not, they won't probably, as historians, use the word traitor. Now, this traitor word actually creates a lot of problem. Like in Maharashtra also, this is the same word, gaddar, in Hindi, which has created a controversy about Eknath Shinde and the manner in which Kunal Kamra poked fun at him using this word Gaddar. But of course, without taking his name, but probably Shinde knows that he is the one who is being referred to as Gaddar, and so he unleashed that protest using his vigilante troll army. So, this historians never use such words, but we have known some traitors in history who have ditched the so-called Indian interest in history several centuries ago. So Mir Jafar and those kind of historical figures are known to be traitors. And Rana Sanga, can you call him a traitor? Because in those days, history was not being seen as in the manner in which the Sangh Parivar and its ecosystem wants to see it. It was just a political fight. It was a fight for territory between and among the various principalities, various kingdoms which were in existence then, and they were taking help of each other, irrespective of whether the help was being sought from a Muslim or a Hindu leader. So to say that somebody has invited a Muslim leader to defeat another Muslim king is treachery with nation. I mean, no such nation existed at that time. I mean, there was no India at that time to call our own. So India came into existence only in 1947. Although the RSS would differ with this because they say that culturally this nation always existed for several centuries, in fact, millennia. But then, as a political entity, as geographically, a united political entity. India came into existence in 1947. So there was no question of anybody being a traitor of India. And yet, if somebody is calling him a traitor, that's a wrong usage. I mean, but the fact remains that Rana Sanga had invited Babur to defeat Ibrahim Lodi. That's a fact of history. Whether it calls for branding him as a traitor is a debatable issue. As I said, no nation existed, no Indian nation existed at that time. So you cannot call him a traitor from the Indian point of view, from today's perspective. In any case, we could have put, I mean, he could have put it in a different context and different words. Instead of calling him a traitor, we could have, I mean, anybody can say this, that see, if you are looking at historical figures from today's point of view, today's Indian point of view, then you will be wrong. You cannot judge Aurangzeb by today's standards. You cannot judge Shivaji by today's standards, by using today's moral and ethical and political yardsticks. You have to view them in those contexts in which they existed. But that is a very mature view of history, which clearly is lacking in today's discourse, and the discourse has been spawned by none other than the Sangh Parivar ecosystem, who have taken a very, very narrow view of history by dividing it into Hindu versus Muslim, which did not exist at that time, because there were several Muslim kings who took help of the Hindus, and there were several Hindu kings who took help of the Muslim kings. So it did not exist at that time. But the Sangh Parivar, for its own political agenda, wants to bring about this kind of a division and this kind of a view of history. They want to push for their own political gains and for their false view of the history. So that is what has been going on, and it's very shameful that in today's age of artificial intelligence, when the world is fast moving towards cutting edge technologies and use of artificial intelligence, technologies like those to pursue the agenda of the future, politicians in India, particularly from the right wing, are pushing the country back into the dark ages. That's the tragedy that is being denoted by such stupid and absolutely irrelevant controversies today, Neelu.
But the way history and the historical icons are playing out in today's politics, and obviously it is for a reason, but it also brings forth the fact that, certain portions of history have been deleted. Now, say, for example, Rana Sanga, uh, the BJP, or rather the right wing, doesn't talk about Rana Sanga, but they do choose to talk about Babur, or they talk about the DNA of Aurangzeb. Now, is this now this battle of history, or the historical icons, the political battle over historical icons, is now becoming more and more aggressive? Because just a short while back on Federal Desh, we were on a Hindi program where Samajwadi Party spokesperson was saying that BJP thinks that they can get away by saying anything, by calling us Aurangzeb ki aulad, or the children of Aurangzeb. And we also need to go through the history pages, and we will also get back with examples. So now is the opposition also now getting ready to counter these historical facts, Siddharth?
Yeah, two things. Right at the outset, let me cut to the chase. BJP right now is in a very bad state in which it is lording over a shrinking echo chamber. BJP right now is in an echo chamber which is fast shrinking. Now I'll come to the important point, and I'll try to give you an analogy. We all know that Virat Kohli, India's premier batsman, was going through a very lean patch in batting. It so happened that in one of the matches, because I am Virat Kohli's fan, I decided to go and watch a match. Because I watched the match, that day Virat Kohli scored a century. Now, can I say that Virat Kohli scored that century because I was there in the stadium? We cannot say that. The history is proof that when Babur invaded India, before Babur invaded India, he had already won Kabul. Before that, he had already won Samarkand. Before that, he had already won Herat. So, irrespective of whether somebody helped him or not, he had an army and he had three distinct advantages vis-a-vis other people. The three advantages was he had horses, he had cannons with him, and he had muskets. Musket is the rifle. All these three things India or Indian army did not have, and that is why Babur had the capability and the wherewithal and the army and the technology to invade not just India but Kabul, and Kabul before that Samarkand, and before that Iran. So Babur had the wherewithal to invade India. Point number two, BJP ecosystem somehow says that Mughals are the villains because Mughals were the first Muslim invaders in India. Wrong. When Babur came into India and when India invaded India, India at that time was already being lorded over by another Muslim king called Ibrahim Lodi. So if Muslims are the villain, then you can't villainize Babur alone. Then you will have to go back to Mr. Ibrahim Lodi and then again back. So the essential point I'm trying to make is that if you dig into history, there is no convenient point where you can stop and say history stops here. History, if you keep digging, it has to go on digging. For example, if somebody tests my DNA and a chimpanzee's DNA in Africa, 99% of the genes meet. So somebody can say, okay, Siddharth, your forefathers were chimpanzees, you were apes. Then I will say that yes, I agree, but before apes, my forefathers were also water animals, they were amphibians, before that they were fish, and before that, if I go into spirituality, aham brahmasmi, because everything started with a big bang. All the matter in the universe started with one thing, so I am part of the big bang, so I am aham brahmasmi. So you cannot start digging according to your convenience and stop at a certain point, because the history will go deeper than that, keep on deeper than that. I think the essential part, what I am trying to stress here, is that 2024 Lok Sabha elections clearly demonstrated to BJP, and BJP knows that its echo chamber, its vote share is essentially shrinking. It is not increasing its vote share. Please remember, please go back to that those days, 2 or 3 months before 2024 elections. So many symbolic religious symbols were being inaugurated across India. BJP was saying is par 400 par, and everything came down, everything came crashing down, and essentially BJP stopped adding votes to its kitty. I'm not saying about seats. Of course, the seat share, BJP seat share has fallen down. But the main problem for BJP is that BJP's vote share is started shrinking. Now it has two options: either to increase its vote share and become more progressive, or to somehow salvage and hold on to its own WhatsApp university kind of people, the echo chamber that is fast shrinking. Now we understand, all of us know that when BJP uh, uh, floats these kind of narratives, which have no sum and substance, it is totally delusional. It is called as taking imaginary offense. In English, the latest slang is snowflake. It's called a snowflake because the moment you touch it, it just crumbles. You take so much offense. In Hindi में बोलते हैं छुई मुई करके पत्ता होता है, उसको आप छूते ही वो मुड़ जाता है. So if BJP is playing that, it is taking imaginary offense. That means that BJP understands it is under severe compulsion now to somehow hold on to its shrinking. It's trying to salvage its shrinking vote share, which essentially thrives on these kind of misinformations, these kind of WhatsApp university forwards that you take imaginary offense. These are the people who are the villains. Now, I don't understand, if Muslims are the villains of India, then how come Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam is called as the missile man of India? And how come BJP's own forefather, Mr. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, when he was the prime minister, he made him the president of India? So all these things, there are so many paradoxes here. So essentially, I think what is happening is that when you start taking imaginary offense, that goes on to show that is a clear giveaway that somehow down the line, you are short of ideas, you don't have any ideas, and you are somehow trying to salvage on, hold on to your losing, fast shrinking base. That is what is happening. Just 2 or 3 days ago, we saw BJP people taking huge offense to some comedian in Mumbai. Now, after that, the person who was part of that vandalism, on whom the FIR was filed, on social media, there were purported photos of him showing that he is a green Dubai gold visa holder. So the question is, if somebody is a visa holder, gold visa holder of Dubai, how come he can take offense to a cultural thing in India? You are already half Dubaian. Now, if BJP says that Muslims are invaders, then the entire petroleum comes to India from the Middle Eastern countries who are Islamic countries. Why isn't India stopping the petroleum imports from Islamic countries? So I think BJP understands. I'll give you the data here. Out of 140 crore people in India, 116 crore, 116 crore people do not vote for BJP. BJP's vote is only around 24 crores, and I think BJP understands that that vote too is fast shrinking. Somehow it has to salvage those people. It is like a circus, that I am running a circus and I have a 500 people in my tent. Somehow I am under compulsion to keep them entertained for 3 hours. Every 5 minutes I'll have to come up with some new act. In one act, the elephant will be riding a bicycle. In the other act, the horse will be riding on a camel. In the third act, a joker will be jumping around. I think that is what BJP, I think, is it's tied into knots. I think BJP is fallen into an echo chamber which is fast shrinking, and it has tied itself into knots.
Right.
I,
Okay,
I,
but
I disagree with Siddharth on the circus
yes.
analogy. Mostly it is the jokers. Mostly it is the jokers. There are no elephants. There are no tigers. Only the jokers are playing.
I was coming to the
So
question to
well
you,
put.
Vivek, that do you think this is some kind of a diversionary tactics to take you away from the pressing issues, and which is why they are manufacturing these controversies, bringing it out, culling it out from the pages of the history, and they're trying to create an issue for no reason.
Absolutely, this is the fact of the matter. But this is not just one fact. They certainly want to make use of these things to camouflage their governance failures. The sagging economy. There's nothing to show on the governance front. Over the last 10 years, there's not one bright spot in India's economy which the world has held as something great. Nothing to show. On the contrary, the economy is sagging, and with the new world order being created by people like Trump, I think they are facing such a unprecedented situation. Something, I mean, they're finding themselves delving into an uncharted territory which they had never imagined. They had never imagined that they would find themselves in this kind of a situation which people like Trump have created. So they are now all at sea to understand and to gauge what's happening in future, what is going to happen to them in future, what's going to happen to India in future, because there's nothing certain about the international politics created by people like Trump. So they are into an uncharted territory where they are unable to grasp the situation and come to terms with it or respond to it in a very creative way. So they want to hide, cover all these failures with these kind of debates. These debates serve two purposes: hide their failures on one front and push their sectarian agenda on the other. So it serves both the purposes. But then it all depends on how people will take it and how long will the people take it as something very necessary. I mean, some of the people in India might be thinking that yes, it is very necessary to judge the history at this point of time because we have not done justice to the real facts of the history, in which we need to rewrite now and come to terms with the real facts of the history, real facts according to them. So they might have this agenda, but most of the common people have nothing to do with, as you said, how many people in India have heard about Rana Sanga? Nobody knows about it. Nobody knows about Rana Sanga, what he did, whether he brought Babur, whether who was Ibrahim Lodi. Most of the people have bread and butter issues which these people do not want to address, because on those fronts there are only failures to show. So and the I think what has gone wrong with India over the last 70, 80 years is the fact that we certainly did not write those chapters of history in a very illuminating way to keep the RSS away, which we needed to do. Like, for example, the Brahminical order. I have learned history, Nilu, in schools. You have also learned. Have we? I mean, even the Congress is at fault for not uh, depicting the Brahminical order, the history of the Brahminical order in India, what damage it has done to this country over centuries. And the second chapter, which we did not write in history properly, we did not teach in history, is the uh, the absence of the RSS and its ecosystem from the whole freedom movement. On the contrary, if at all, they have done disservice to the Indian freedom struggle by uh, indirectly helping the British. There are many documents which show that the British, there is one British document which says that the RSS poses no threat, which means the RSS is helping them. So we did not write the history, these two chapters in history. One is the Brahminical order, which put this country behind the rest of the world by several centuries, and the other chapter about their non-participation or their ditching the Indian freedom struggle in a very decisive way. So these two chapters, if we had written these two chapters in history books and taught the students about what these people were actually up to, we would not have had to face this situation today, and we would not have had to encounter these stupid and idiotic debates which are completely unnecessary, and we would not have had to combat the wrong
Right.
presentation of history by the RSS ecosystem, which unfortunately is in the seat of power today in India, Nilu.
Right, but let's inform the viewers that what all has happened since the time Ramji Lal made this comment. Now, this has led to a legal action as well. Now, there is an advocate called Ajay Pratap Singh, who's the president of the Arya Sanskriti Conservation Trust. He has filed a civil suit against Suman and Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav. And what the lawyer has said, for the last few days, we've been hearing reports in the media about Ramji Lal Suman calling Rana Sanga a traitor, and he's spreading a false narrative. So there is a legal case for spreading a false narrative. Then what else has happened? There have been protests which have erupted in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, with Rajput groups demanding action against Suman. In Bhopal, Rajput Mahapanchayat activists burned effigies of Akhilesh Yadav and Suman outside the Samajwadi Party office. Heated exchanges took place between Mahapanchayat and SP activists, with police intervening to prevent the clashes. And the National Secretary, Abhay Parmar, has said that we also put up a poster about battles won by Rana Sanga and his valor. So, this is what the complete picture looks like, and this is what the complete controversy on Rana Sanga looks like, and this is how it has manifested. Now, Siddharth, what would you really say? A legal case for spreading a false narrative?
Yeah, I think the Samajwadi Party MP made these statements within in the parliament, right? He made these statements inside the parliament. If he has made inside the parliament, there is certain immunity to it. Whatever is said inside the parliament cannot be challenged in a court of law. Uh, uh, Besides that, whichever organization represents itself for a set of people, saying that it represents people, it should also take offense to the fact that hundreds of people from America, from USA, were brought to India in handcuffs and chained. Out of them, so many people would have been part of that organization or belonging to that caste. Why aren't you taking objection to that? If you are really wanting to take objection, you should take objection and go and fight with Mr. Trump, or boycott Mr. Trump, or boycott USA. Because if you say that certain people are insulted of belonging to my caste or my creed or my section of people, then the latest example here is that my own people, Hindus, especially the Indian Hindus, were brought in chains, in restraints from USA to India. Why aren't I aren't I taking offense to it? Why aren't I fighting the USA on this? Why aren't I asking USA questions? Why am I not boycotting USA? So I think everyone knows that. Again, I am trying to say the same thing. One important factor I would like to say, because I think when you federal viewers, there'll be a lot of people who would be voting for BJP also. There is a tendency within the BJP ecosystem to somehow align Mr. Trump and Modi together as both of them right wingers or very strong leaders. But after Trump has come into power, the way BJP and Trump are behaving are diametrically opposite. For example, we know when the Ukrainian president, Mr. Zelensky, went to the White House, that meeting did not go well. In fact, there were heated exchanges. And basically, that those talks failed and they walked out. But within 15 days of that, the same Trump ensured that there was some kind of ceasefire negotiation between Ukraine and Russia. they are on the brink of some kind of temporary ceasefire. That goes on to show that Mr. Trump doesn't even carry a history baggage of 15 days ago. He is right now playing dynamically as the situation demands as of today. Now, if Mr. Narendra Modi or BJP ecosystem is a mirror image of Mr. Trump, how can it take a historical offense of 400 years ago? Mr. Trump, your own Mr. Trump idol, is not taking offense on Mr. Zelensky, who misbehaved with him inside the White House and walked out of a meeting 15 days ago. So I think the world is changing very fast, especially after the AI things have come in, the DeepSeek, the Grok, all these things have ChatGPT have come. Everyone knows that how to find truth within a few minutes, and that is why the world over, the geopolitics is changing so fast that nobody is living even in yesterday. Forget about 400 years ago. Everybody is living in today and trying to make tomorrow better. So I think
Right.
BJP ecosystem, if it wants to take back India or take back the narrative or hark back to an imaginary offense 500 years ago on Babur, they can keep doing that. But already India is lagging behind in the geopolitical world order. If they keep doing this for the next few months, forget about lagging behind. They will be standing here, and the train would have left the station, and the world would have gone to another tangent.
Right. But my last question to you, Vivek, is that how would BJP now use, or the opposition now use, this Aurangzeb controversy, this Rana Sanga controversy coming as it does just few months before the Bihar elections? And of course, the Aurangzeb controversy, they might use it for the BMC elections. But this Rana Sanga controversy, all of a sudden, what do you think? Who's going to reap the political benefits? You'll have to unmute. Vivek, you're muted. Vivek, you're muted. Yeah. You will have to unmute yourself. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think the BJP will use it in any different way. I think the BJP has only a sectarian agenda to press in any election. They have been doing only Hindu-Muslim polarization, and they will use this to the hilt to do the same. I don't think they have anything to showcase as achievement of the government of the BJP of Narendra Modi in any of the elections. They have not done that. You see, you take a look at many previous elections. They have been following only sectarian agenda. And about the opposition, I don't know whether the opposition too is equipped to kind of handle this in a very intelligent way and just corner the BJP on it. Because history is a very delicate matter. History is a very sensitive matter. And if you try to put it out in a very objective way, you could yourself be projected as a traitor. Because if you say that Rana Sanga was not a traitor, he was just doing his job as a king of king of his times, and we cannot judge him from today's point of view. Then you would also be mistaken as or judged as a traitor yourself. So putting the history in a very objective way is a very difficult task for any political party. If you try to project history in a very objective way, then you will be doing the right thing, but it will be not politically right. It will be politically possibly incorrect. So the opposition really does not have the courage to take on the BJP when it comes to interpretation of the history. Because if it is seen as going against the Hindus, then they are the losers. And the BJP pounces upon the opposition using their own sectarian agenda when the opposition tries to interpret something in a very objective way. So I think the opposition will not. But what the opposition should be doing ideally is what they did in Maharashtra's Lok Sabha election. They completely focused on the local issues and issues concerned with the people's daily lives, bread and butter. If the opposition does that in a very concerted way, in a very honest and very dedicated way, then I think the BJP will have to come to those issues. They cannot simply talk about history to the electorate when they are going to electorate for votes. Because if the opposition is talking about the bread and butter issues, the BJP will be per force required to respond to it. So the opposition has to very intelligently win the BJP away from those issues and set the agenda of the real issues themselves. If the opposition does that in a very effective way, I think the BJP will be on the back foot. Neelu.
Right. Right. So we'll have to wait and see. First, it was Aurangzeb, then Rana Sanga, Babur. Now, I don't know how many other historical figures they will try and cull out from the history pages to create a controversy. Thank you so much, Vivek Deshpande. Siddharth, thank you so much for joining.